we're back in the room. Hello, welcome to part 2 of the Tuesday Craziness. It may well just be a two-parter today because we had to start a little later, and if we go for an hour, that'll bring us nicely up to 11:30, if everyone's okay with that. Depends how many tears and dead bodies we have by the end of it, I suppose. Not that we're expecting that, just, oh, sorry, I just saw chat again. Oh my god, the forest is a mimic. I did consider that at one point, but that's for a whole nother campaign. Hint, hint, Feywild. Feywild is a mimic.
Feywild, hashtag trust.
Best campaign
Just the
ever.
entire Feywild.
Okay, you guys have to forget I said that because it's now going to just be the end of the campaign. That's what's going to happen. It's going to be amazing. Appricity, I won't make you do a perception check for this one because once again you can hear Hoyden whispering around you, and it's coming from a slightly different direction now that you've moved around, but it is coming from the same sort of path you were heading down before. Well, I say path. There's lots of trees. There is no particular path, but the path you were going to take and make for yourself. The voice is still coming from down there.
Cool. I'm gonna wildly look around and just kind of do a quick head count and make sure that everybody's still standing, and then immediately shout, he's here, and then run off to wherever I can hear the shouting.
I'm chasing after her.
Are you going to respond to anyone who is asking who, or are you just going to run?
Can I hear them shouting at me?
When you said he's here, you did get a response from somebody saying who.
I'm just gonna shout Sanley Milk and then run.
How close am I to Appricity?
You were quite close. You were within about 10-15 feet of her, I think, because you moved over to attack the one she attacked. But she was on the other side of it.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking whether or not I burn another spell slot.
Dare you.
Yeah, I'm gonna cast Hold Person on Appricity.
Oh shit! How do I stop this?
You have to beat my save, which Hold Person is from my sorcerer. So, give me one moment whilst I work out what you need to beat.
Okay, I'm not gonna roll until I know the number. It changes how the dice work, but
8 plus 4 plus 3, I believe.
And that in maths is... I don't do maths.
I also don't do maths.
Quick,
You said you loved maths earlier! You lied to me.
No, it's the thing.
15, I can
15.
15.
Not using
Oh shit! I can take a photo of this to prove it. I genuinely rolled a 15. Do I add anything to that?
You would add your charisma. It's a charisma saving throw, so you would.
Charisma, so you've just
it's also within Verti's aura, so you add +6 to it as well, right?
Only if she's within 10 feet of me.
Oh yeah.
I would say I was further away than that because
so
I
you're
bammed
probably
it.
out of the 10 feet of Aetherita.
Then again, is she within the aura of the paladin that's Ragnar?
Oh yeah.
I would argue that.
Well, if you instantly help her to get out of this. But basically, you've beaten a 15.
Yeah, I rolled a 15 and then my charisma...
Yeah, so in which case, your whole person will then take no effect.
That is correct. And Ragnar's just going to swear to himself and just bolt after Appricity.
Clang. Okay, so you guys have seen Appricity, you've heard Appricity shout, and she's gone running off again.
There we go.
From every conversation you guys have had so far, I'm assuming none of them actually recognise the name you're telling them.
I will repeat what I said earlier, and I will make sure to chase after her.
I think I've mentioned that name, I think maybe once ever, but it's not the kind of name that anybody would remember, I don't think.
Wasn't it the name that you mentioned back in the castle?
Yeah.
Before it was ours.
Yeah, ages ago. I
think it was only to certain people as well.
Yeah, I think I said it out loud somewhere to some people, and then I went and asked the like the fortune teller person, but I don't remember who was with me or if I did it on my own.
I think you did that on your own.
Fortune teller was just you.
Okay.
So,
Yeah,
so
definitely said it out loud at some point, but I can't remember. That was ages ago. I can't remember who it was.
Vatic will not
it's
have
fairly
remembered
reasonable to believe that you all wouldn't necessarily remember that as well, so that's okay.
Yeah, well, and also you kind of heard me talk about the loss of someone and not mention a name before, because when I was upset, or when she was upset about Reese.
Oh, yes.
Oh, shit.
The epic tidal wave of tears that was Reese.
Yeah. So she's mentioned stuff before, just
sad times, all the sad times. Okay, so Apricity's gone running off. Ragnar and Orissa have gone running after her. Orissa holding the bump and the baby bear. What is everyone else doing?
Vitharitus will try and keep pace with Orissa.
Yeah, same.
Okay, so basically everybody hauls ass after Apricity.
Oh.
My little gnome legs.
Wait, Arissa, did you bring Razzle Dazzle or like? Am I?
I have
bringing Razzle
no
Dazzle?
idea what the hell has happened to any of our horses.
Well, the only horse that was brought into the forest was Razzle Dazzle.
Yeah.
Can Hannibal grab Orissa again? Princess style?
In that case, I'm bringing Razzle Dazzle.
Okay. I'm going to say Razzle Dazzle has been fairly decently trained by Orissa, so would probably canter after you, just because of how much training you did put in with your lovely horse at one point. So you will all be sprinting after Apricity. So, you guys run along after her, and Apricity, you are just focused on following this noise. It feels as though you are running for hours and hours. The rest of you as well, you're not quite tiring out, but you lose all sense of time in this really dark, dank piece of woods. The trees are really close together. You have to keep ducking under branches and dugging out the way. You guys are tripping over things and jumping over like little tiny running streams and like burrows of strange weird animals that are like bigger than you would expect for like a mole or a rabbit hole. And none of you can run in a straight line for very long without potentially getting thwacked by a tree. And you continue in this way for what feels like an eternity. Apricity, again, you're still following this voice, and eventually it seems to get louder, and you focus in, and you can hear Hoiden, and it seems to only be coming from the one place, and you can only hear one voice now, rather than your head ringing full of it. And you come to a small sort of curved clearing. So rather than a round clearing, it's sort of the shape of a half moon, but with a curve around the middle. And the trees here are bigger and thicker. The roots come out of the ground in huge claw-like waves and then duck back down under the ground. It's not lush and green, it's sort of dark, blacky brown. There is grass, but it's a dark, blacky brown colour, almost as if the whole place has been covered in some sort of oil spill. But there's nothing liquidy around. The trees are thicker here, so rather than the thin trees you guys had to duck around and weave in between, they're huge and stand really tall. You cannot see the sky very easily because the huge trees, even though it's a clearing, they seem to attach themselves together over the top, and all their branches seem to intertwine and lock, meaning you can't see anything but the dark mist that hangs around the top of the trees. Apricity, you skid to a halt in the middle of this clearing, and you can hear one voice saying, "Whedon." Everybody else skids to a halt, seeing Apricity in the middle of this sort of half moon clearing. Can everybody except Apricity do a perception check? And Apricity, can you do an investigation check for me?
Cool. My cat is sat on my stats.
That was a perception, wasn't it?
Yes.
Your perception.
Okay. I had the wrong thing up. I was like, I can hear dice rolling. Why can't I see the answer? Oh, wait, that's why. It's all on here. Oh, I missed memes that are from. Oh my god. That's alright. Carry me like a princess. I love it. This is what happens when I focus on music. Okay. Arissa, you notice you're in a half moon clearing, lots of big trees, they look very old. The ground is quite difficult terrain here because the roots are huge. Like, some of these tree roots are as thick as your whole body, and they come up out of the ground and then duck back under again. Woohoo! Hannibal, natural 20, very good.
Arissa's just like, there are trees.
There are trees. Yes. Arissa, I'm going to say you're focused on making sure the baby bear and the baby bump are okay. Like, you know, baby bear's been bumped around a bit. You know, he's probably like. Okay, Angry Behold like 11. Okay, so Ragnar, you can see this is a very old part of the woods. The trees here make you feel a little uneasy just because they're so thick and tall, and as you look up you can't see sky, you can only see a sort of dark mist. The Theritas, wow, okay. Yeah, there's lots of old trees here. Yeah,
You have hands.
lots of old trees. Varric, okay, cool. And Vitheritas does a head count. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. Varric and Hannibal, as you guys peer around at these trees, you see weird shapes in them. And Hannibal, as you walk up to one of them, you sort of have to tilt your head a bit because your instinct towards the sort of more macabre type stuff means that you look at one particular tree and it looks as if there's like a skull that's like stuck in this tree, but as you move closer you realize no, it's just a piece of the knot in the wood, but the knot of the tree has got like dark sockets and things, and it looked a bit like a skull, which made you very excited for a moment until you realized it was made of wood.
Darn it.
Appricity with your 12, it takes you a little while, but you manage to follow the sound of your brother's voice, and it takes you to a tree, and I'm just going to pop a picture up of what it looks like for you guys, as well as attempting to pop a picture up of what it looks like on the thing as well, so bear with me.
Multitasking.
D&D, yes, that is the folder I would like. And this one, and nope, not that folder apparently. Bear with, guys, bear with. Just finding all my things. Here we go. Okay. Okay. So that is uploading for you guys, and I'm just going to put it up on this as well.
Ooh.
So, you hear the voice.
Ooh, that's creepy.
And as you investigate further looking for your brother, you zero in on the voice and you can hear Poiden, and you approach a tree, and as you look at it and you hear, you can see in the trunk two dark sort of eye-like things blinking at you slowly, and as you move closer you realise that it is in fact, and I will do you the front view, a face sticking out of the tree, and it is the face of your brother. Now, considering it is 20 years since you last saw him, 20 or 25?
Yeah, like 20-ish.
20-ish. Around there or thereabouts. He does not look much older than the last time you saw him. I mean, being gnomes, you wouldn't have aged a great deal, but you would have expected to see him a little older than he was. But he looks not really that much older than the last time when you did see him. And you can't see his body. His face, let me read you my notes here. Hang on, here we go. I want to describe it properly. Okay, so his eyelids, his nose, and his mouth are all wooden and starting to rot. bark has encrusted into his neck and his skin. You can't see hair anymore, where it's all just become one with this tree. His body is completely enveloped and you cannot see it. You cannot see hands, nor arms, nor feet, but he stands at roughly the height he was, so he's about level with you. So he's, for the rest of you, quite low down in this tree trunk. For you, he'd be about the right height. And the face, which seems to be the last thing that's left sticking out of this tree, is, as per the picture, ankle height Varric, a little taller than that. They're not pixies. And yeah, you can see his lips slowly have been turning to wood, and the wood itself is like slowly rotting. It's sort of coming, and this is why he's speaking to you in between a whisper and a harsh attempt at normal speech. It doesn't seem like his throat is working particularly anymore, but the mouth does move. And as you approach and look at him and recognize his face, he looks back at you and he says, "Oh, I didn't think I'd see you again."
What's happened? She'd reach her hands up and touch the face.
He is sort of warm, like the rest of the tree. The face shape is still the same. You can feel where his cheekbones would be, but all around the sides and creeping down his eyelids and mouth and like his nostrils, they've turned a sort of wooden. And little pieces of bark sort of fleck off in your hand, and you see him sort of wince as you put your hands there, and it seems that the wood is slowly sort of rotting around him, and it seems to cause him a little pain when it falls off.
I immediately move my hand back when I see that. I'm sorry, I didn't hurt you. Jiffle, you squirrel witch, what are you doing in the tree? How did you get here?
I'm still not really sure. I was trying to help, and I did help. She got away, and I let them take me instead.
Who was she? Who took you?
I'm assuming at this point that the rest of you have sort of gathered in a clump.
Yeah.
To listen to this marvellous tale. Okay. I apologise in advance for the 3.5 pages of potential backstory that I have here.
We're gonna go through every fucking word.
Can I keep a grab just to make Ariza's collar to make sure she doesn't go too near the tree or try to touch it?
Yes.
Just keep her behind me, nope.
You can do, yes. You can keep an eye, that's fine.
Thank you.
I'm really sorry, Hoyden. I didn't get to say goodbye, but we had to leave, and I stayed with her and tried to protect her, and I'm really sorry. I wish you could have met her. She was the love of my life.
So it's true you left with the humans that attacked our village?
No, they didn't attack at all. It was a big mistake. I met her first. She was so lovely. I was out in the woods and I met her and we fell in love. And I wanted her to meet you all and for you to see how amazing she was, but then when I let them in, there was a big fight. She said that the family all disapproved of her and wanted her dead, and we had to run away, so we went. And I wish you could have met her, and I'm sorry I didn't say goodbye.
Oh, Jiffle. I know that our people aren't used to others coming in. Why didn't you talk to me first? Why did you try and bring a whole troop of humans to Sacred Clearing?
love her so much. It was all I could think about. I don't even really remember the fight. I just remember hearing the screaming, and she came and found me and said we had to go, and then we ran for ages and ages and ages.
I would have made them understand, you know. I would have done anything for you.
I know, but I don't think they would have understood. They were all human. It wasn't just her. They were all human. It all ended in a big fight anyway. Maybe it was better that we just went. We ran for so long, and she had a whole gang of people that they really looked up to her, you know. She was something so special, and I felt like I could help because they were looking for things, and they were on like a proper mission. I was a part of it. She was so lovely. I wanted to do anything to help her, and we traveled for ages and ages, and she was on this mission, and she was looking for someone. I can't remember his name, but she said if we could find him, we could separate him from his mission, and that would gain her and us great favor to become the right hand of the shadow. And it sounded so good, you know, and she was so lovely.
And where is this lovely one now? She's abandoned you in this forest.
No, she didn't abandon me. I told her to run when we got caught. It was such a long time. And she got caught by one of the trees, and I grabbed it to get it off her, and I held it out the way while she ran, and I watched her run, and I told her not to look back, and she didn't. And I stayed here.
I've been looking for you for the last 20 summers. I can't believe you were this close the whole time.
I'm surprised she didn't come back.
And another time.
That's ish.
Oh, she did.
Disgusting.
She did come back. A few months ago, I felt her presence again, and I thought she was coming to see me, but she didn't. I could tell she was looking for something, and she was really angry. And she was searching around, and I don't think she found it. And then she was gone again.
What was her name? This special one that you love.
Her name was Lowry.
What was she doing in the woods? Why was she here? Why was she in our woods?
Yes, the Theratas, you do recognise that name and swear panel. And yes, you probably say, "Oh snap!" Very quietly. Very quietly.
Arissa just kind of goes, "Oh snap!"
Yeah, you kind of see, like, as soon as Appricity hears the name, like you just see her win, but brush over it because she doesn't know how long she's got to talk to standing up.
Okay. What was your last question? Sorry, I was getting distracted by the chat in all capital letters.
Fine. What was she doing in this forest, to the Forest of Eva, and what was she doing in our forest, the Finn forest?
When I met her, the whole group, we were called the Dusk Runners. I put that in chat as well. The Theratas has walked away with his mole and smashing it into a tree, resuming the swearing. Just so everyone's aware.
I'm going to be vaguely aware of this in the background and like make a mental note to do.
Okay. Mental note taken. So they were looking for someone, and hang on. And he closes his eyes, and you can see tiny flecks of the bark sort of break off as his eyelids close, and you can see his face sort of wince again as he tries to remember. And then he suddenly opens his eyes. Hang on one sec. Yep. He suddenly opens his eyes and he says, "Sir Jalin," which I will type for you guys as well. We were looking for someone named Zajalin. We had to stop him on his mission, and that would help Lowry and get us power and position, change everything. And she'd been looking for him for so long, and we fell in love, and I wanted to help her, so I did. And we travelled for so long, and eventually we came to this forest about 5 years ago. And we found him.
Did you speak with him?
Oh, I didn't know, no. Only Lowry spoke with him. She told us all to stay back. And she went and she ignored us all for a while she was, I think, interrogating him. And eventually they sort of became like a couple. And it was part of the plan, and I know that she didn't necessarily really mean it, but I kind of felt my heart break every time I saw them.
And then she left you.
No,
So
she
you kept
didn't
your
leave
guys'
me
tree.
yet. We stayed together, and she was with this Sajalin guy. He was really handsome, and he had big rings and big red horns. And she used to say to us at night, she'd say to us that someone had been destroyed, and if she could distract Sajalin, then this other woman would be forgotten and her followers would abandon her. And she seemed really excited about it. So I was happy for her that everything was working, because I love her very much. But then she got pregnant with the guy with the horns and the wings child, and she got really mocking and cruel, and it was, they were arguing all the time, and the Sajalin guy was rage and angry, and they argued, and he said he was on an important mission to make people remember. But he stayed with us in this forest, and he stayed, and then he saw his son born, and the baby had like pale but reddy skin and horns, and then Lowry just laughed at him and said that she would be raised up for all the success she'd done. And then they argued, and then Sajalin just went. And he went away and never came back, and he shouted that he had to do his goddess's work. But Lowry told us that it was too late for his deity anyway, and she was going to be forgotten all about. And then she had us all do this ritual, which really hurt, but it was for her, so I would do anything for her. And we did it, and the ground split a little bit, and this big dark shadow came out, and it was all around us, and this big voice, and it was really scary, but it thanked Lowry and said she was the true devotee, and it said her efforts to thwart the others attempting to prove themselves were impressive, and that he relishes chaos. And he gave her a reward, and he said it was more powerful magic. And I don't know what it was, but she seemed really happy. And then the shadow voice asked if she wanted him to dispose of the baby for her, and she said yeah. And it asked if the baby had a name, and she called it Brickens. And then a shadow and the baby just vanished. I love the chat, it's just all capital letters now.
And throughout this, you just stood by and just let her go about things without questioning them.
He didn't have a choice, you know. Poor thing.
Well, she's really lovely and she's the love of my life, you know.
Of course she is.
I love her so much. And I thought she must be sad that the baby was taken away, but she was really happy with all her new magic. So we started trying to find a way out of this forest so she could go and do more things. She said there was this group she wanted to find and destroy or something, and something about paladins, but she didn't tell us a lot more after that. And then we all got here, and she got caught up in the big tree roots, and they started coming out of the ground and attacking us all, and some of the others were dragged into the earth and we didn't see them again, and Laui was there, and she was calling for me to help her, and of course I did, because I love her so much. And she said I must save her because we're in love, and so I pulled the roots off her, and they attacked me instead, and she ran away, and she's safe now, so it's all okay.
Unfortunate soul, in pain, in me.
Correct.
Sorry, I couldn't resist.
Jiffle, you're always such a loving boy. I wish you could have put your love somewhere better placed.
You don't think she loved me, really?
I don't know, darling. It's nothing. Don't worry yourself. You said you felt her presence just a few months ago. Why do you think she came back if she didn't come to find you?
I could feel her there, and I reached out to try and connect to her, but I don't think she could hear me. Like you could hear me, but not at first, because I was calling for ages, but you didn't hear me, but then you did, and you came. I don't think Laui could hear me, but she was really mad, and she was looking for something, and it was something that was gonna stop the world, or something. It was she was looking, and she wanted to destroy it before it could get used against her and those she was working for, or something. I couldn't tell. She didn't come close enough for me to see. But she left before she found anything.
Sorry that come back, my love.
Say that again?
You know, I'm sorry that she didn't come back for you, my love.
Well, I'm sure she had a good reason.
Yes, I'm sure so.
Annabelle is holding her mouth quite a lot right now.
Like,
She's
don't speak.
I'm already brandishing the bear trap. I'm now pointing towards Anna.
Hey, she's been quiet.
Yeah, but like the longer she's quiet, the worse it will be when she speaks.
I like that logic.
It's good logic.
Well, you're not wrong.
Oh, my darling, it's been so long. I'm so glad to have finally found you. I'm so sorry that you've gone through so much just to be left here in this awful place.
I'm sorry I didn't tell you. Appricity. Boyden. I need you to help me, please.
Anything, darling. Tell me.
Do you wish for us to end your life?
Hannah!
I'm actually gonna move the bear trap closer to her face now.
It all hurts so much.
I know, darling.
And look what happened. I had to watch what happened to the rest of them. And like with his eyes very slowly, as the bark sort of chips away from his eyelashes, he like looks to other trees in the clearing. And as you look, you notice that the skull you'd seen, Hannibal, really is a skull, but it is now wooden. And it looks as if someone else had been grown into a tree and slowly decayed over time until their skull was the only shape left. And as you guys look around now, having seen Jiffle, you see in these huge tree chunks. In fact, you see another shape further round the one he is in as well. And you see the shapes of distraught faces, agonized faces, and it all seems like people have been scooped up into the trees and slowly rotted away. And he looks back to you, Appricity, and in the way that siblings can do without needing to communicate too much, you know he's asking you to try to cut down this tree that he's trapped in.
My darling, is there any way that we can save this tree? Is there any spell, could I break you from the bark? I'm going to start like looking around the group madly as well to see if anyone has suggestions.
Yeah. Like, I know I probably can't save him, but could I break the love spell just before he dies so he comes to his senses? Or will that...
Oh!
That's brutal!
That you could probably do, Annabelle, yes. For those of you looking, there is no body left to save. He has no limbs, there is no body there, it is just the last remnants of his face. That even as you look, slowly the bark is just creeping millimetre by millimetre further across his cheekbones, and every time he blinks his eyes, it takes him longer and longer to open them again.
I'm gonna...
Hannibal will walk closer to Appricity, and just look at her and raise her hand, which will be glowing pink, and ask her, do you wish him to be sane for the last moments? To be himself? I can give you Jet. I can't save him, but I can make him him for a few minutes.
I'm going to look at Hannah and through gritted teeth say, step back. I do not want you to touch him.
Arissa's gonna kneel down and, make herself eye level with Appricity and just tell her, there's nothing we can do. Whether or not you allow Hannah to do whatever, she knows that if she were to harm either of you, she would have me to answer to.
All I'm asking is if you want him to die with a curse or die as himself.
I told you I don't want you to touch him.
I can pass the magic to you if that is what is bothering you. All you have to do is give me your hand.
At this point, I'm gonna physically grab, the back of Hannah's clothes and drag her away.
Annabelle will stop her, and you won't be able to move her when she does this. And she will look over her shoulder and simply say, this is not a choice for you to make, Varric. This is a choice for Appricity to make.
She made her choice.
No, she did not. She did not say no to me. If she says no,
she specifies,
I will stop.
She specifies you were not allowed to do anything to him.
No,
I
she
think she
specified that I
answered
was
your
not allowed to
question.
touch him. If you say no, I will stop and I will go away.
I
With
do
that-
not. Go on.
With that, I'm going to look at Appricity with like an eyebrow raised, going, so.
If
I'll
you
take
live-
Apricity's hand.
If he is to be under a curse and not to just genuinely be in love, why would you lift such a thing and give his last few moments pain and the realization of what he has done?
Because
I
it
appreciate you're
is
trying to do something
pain.
kind, but please stop.
Fine. Her hand will stop glowing. Let him play with the curse then.
Rosie, on the tree that he's in, are there any leaves on it at all?
Yes. It's quite a full tree. It's huge. The trunk, as I said, is probably about as wide as 2 humans. So it's fairly big and chunky. 2 humans stood next to each other and then circumferenced. And it's got lots and lots of branches with leaves. They're all quite dark though, again, like that oil spill sort of colour. The oak and the bark is dark brown, everything's very dark, the leaves are hanging and dark. But there are leaves, yes.
If I can reach them with my own hand, I want to pluck 1 leaf. If not, I'll use my mage hand cantrip and just take a single leaf.
Yeah, you can reach up and grab one.
Cool. I'm going to take the leaf and just tuck it away in one of my pouches that I've got on my belt. I'm going to turn to everybody else, like tears streaming down her face, and just say, I'd like you all to leave. I'll be right behind you, I promise.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to cast Loman's tiny hut just a little bit away. We'll be right here. And I'll make sure that the hut is darkened so we can't see her say goodbye.
Aww.
So that way we're not leaving her completely alone, but she still has the privacy she needs.
I'm waiting before I enter until Hannah is inside.
Okay. So everybody goes inside the hut, within the clearing, so that you guys can see. Just danger sensors up and everything. And then Appricity, you are left essentially alone, with your brother/tree.
I'm going to reach my hand up to his face one more time and just kind of gently stroke his cheek. I always knew you'd be the one that would get in the most trouble.
The mouth sort of cracks into a smile. It literally cracks as well. The bark sort of starts to crack and splinter, but he does it. He sort of smiles. Ow. Yeah.
I love you, you stupid squirrel wit.
I love you too. My big, brave nitwit of a sister.
And she leans forwards and gives him a kiss on what would be his cheek. And then as she steps back, she says, I'll be seeing you soon. And then I'm going to back up to where Arissa's cast the little hut.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to use the fireball necklace. And I'm going to shoot a fireball directly at the tree.
Okay.
And I don't know what to roll.
Okay. For
In my
this,
notes somewhere.
I will say for now, do 4d6s of damage, and I will double check that for you as well. But just for now.
Do I add anything extra to it?
No, not for now. Just roll your damage. I will just double check. Here we go. Alright.
18 damage.
18, okay. Where are you aiming on the tree itself?
Like, just below his face.
Okay. Okay. The tree, the bark splinters. It's like old wood, and it splinters and crackles, and within seconds, it is ignited. You don't hear screams or cries. You don't hear anything at all until the whole tree is ablaze, and it doesn't crumble. The tree itself seems to have some sort of protection on it, but what you do notice is that both the face of your brother and the various other faces that you can see stepping back, there was about another 4 or 5 just at different points around this tree, most higher up. They all burn, and their eyes close and they vanish, and the whole tree ignites in flame. And as it reaches the very top of the branches and starts to touch that black mist that hangs in the air, the whole tree, the flames disappear. But every face has gone from the tree. And you, again, that sort of sibling bond, it's still there, but you can feel it's gone from afar. It's no longer close, it's moved. You can feel that he's now passed and the tree is blank.
She's gonna walk up to the tree and just touch it one more time, and then just sit on the floor and cry.
Those of you inside the hut, you wait a reasonable amount of time and then have a look and see what has happened. Are you guys going to come out and say hi to Appricity?
I'm gonna wait until I hear or get any form of verification that it's we won't disturb her. So I'm staying in the hut.
Yeah. Iris gonna wait inside the hut until Apricity's ready to come in.
Okay. A few moments pass just after this tree has gone back to blank. And just as you're starting to pull yourself together again, Appricity, all of you hear a huge clattering, stomping noise. You can hear hoofs. You can hear...
Now I'm gonna leave.
now I'm getting ready for battle.
Well, first thing, I will clear the dome so we can see outside.
Okay. You guys can hear thundering hoofs coming through the trees, and a big black swirling cloud comes clattering through. The trees themselves seem to part out the way and move back into place as a dark shape riding a horse comes into view. I'm going to put a picture up for you guys as well so that you can see this as well.
Uh-oh. Who's gonna physically pull the paladin into this hut?
As you all get pulled and stand in this hut.
I'm still at the bottom of the tree.
Oh, is no one pulling Appricity in?
Arissa will
to be Ava's friends.
I wouldn't have even...
Right on the edge of the clearing, so he's nowhere near.
Oh, yeah,
Arissa will just run outside, much to Hannah's dismay, and pick Appricity
Actually,
up.
Hannah won't even react, which will be unusual for all you to see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I, in the meantime, try and pull Verti back into the hut?
Oh, can I have? But she will. Can I have try this? But she won't react to Arissa, but she will just, in annoyance, like lift a finger and suddenly Vert is in the air and just throw him inside the hut.
Sure.
Like without a care, just boom against the wall and then
Okay.
just cross her arms.
So then everyone is inside the hut except for Arissa and Appricity.
Ragnar's going out there as well to grab them.
I'm
Yeah,
staying out there.
I think he's
until-
just seen pregnant lady run out and gone, oh no.
I'm staying out there until Larissa and Appricity are back inside.
The second Vitharitus hits the ground, he's back up and get out.
Arissa's yelling at Varric to get inside.
Okay. As you guys look and you see this huge black horse that seems to be almost made of shadow and bone. It's like black and skeletal, and a huge cloaked figure with a billowing cloak on top come riding through. You notice as well someone else hovering along beside, keeping pace with this horse. This is a female shape. She's draped in robes, has long pale hair, and seems to have markings of various things all across her. I'll put a picture of that up for you guys as well.
Does Vitharitus recognize her?
You don't recognize her, but you do get not from the horse or its rider, but from the woman hovering along beside the Theritas. You get a massive ping on your good and evil scale, and it is firmly tipped towards evil.
Ping on the gator.
Ding dong! So,
Oh no.
this huge skeletal horse and its big cloaked rider clatter into the clearing and come to a stop. The woman hovering alongside stops also, and the rider's the hooded face that you can't see turns to the tree, and for a second seems to be looking at you, Appricity. But then, with a swipe through the air of a big black cloaked hand, which again seems skeletal as well, several white shapes come out of the tree and rise towards this creature on the horse, and he snaps a finger, which again clicks and echoes. And these white, sort of humanoid shapes disappear up into the sky. And at this point, you feel a complete disconnect with your brother. He's no longer on this mortal plane. He's passed on completely. And as you, Appricity, look up at this rider, you look into where the face would be, but it's completely black, covered by this hood, and you, being so close, instantly get a complete sense that this is Death himself, and he has come to release the souls that you have now freed from this tree.
By this point, Arissa has reached Appricity.
In which case, Arissa, you would have a very similar feeling.
I immediately put my hands to my belly. I'm literally carrying the opposite of this person.
Annabelle is
I'm
curious
gonna.
like what his reaction would be to her.
Oh, sorry. What were you saying? I couldn't hear.
Wait, sorry? What?
What did you say?
Oh, you were talking. Sorry, you can say it first.
I was saying I'm gonna stare directly into what would be the face of this figure
Oh,
and just nod.
I said that Annabelle would walk closer to him and she would be curious about what he would react to her, who supposedly died many, many times.
Mhm.
Many
The
times.
big hooded cloaked figure sort of tilts its head. Again, you can't see through the blackness where the face would be, and takes you all in with a slow turn of its hooded head. But it doesn't speak. Yes, Varric, you do notice Arissa holding her belly.
Okay, can I ask one follow-up question?
Yes.
Have I seen him before?
Have you seen
Consider-
death before?
Considering Varric died once and he remembers it.
Looking directly into this face now, it does have a hint of familiarity about it.
Is it like does it feel dangerous? Like
It doesn't feel dangerous. It feels alarming, but only in that he poses quite an imposing figure. But Death himself doesn't come with anything other than dignity and finality. So it's almost a tremendous rush of emotion, but you couldn't pinpoint it. It's not fear, it's not anger, it's a sort of sense of whoa.
okay.
What the hell?
That was
theme tune.
that was my alarm just telling me to pause this recording. So on that marvellous note, we'll be right back.